Hey guys, Connor Tracy here, Big Red SEO. Just got a handful of different things. Today is December 8th. And basically, the reason I'm doing this video is that WordPress is coming out with a new version today. So version 5.6 will be out later on today. And there's a handful of different things that it's going to do that could potentially negatively impact your website in terms of how you operate things as they are. So just a quick rundown on a few different things. One of the things that they have put into this new version is application passwords. It allows other softwares to access your website and perform different tasks. You have to grant them permission to be able to do it, and one of them is using these passwords. But there is a potential exploit in it that the person that actually sets up the password, it could potentially reuse that information to gain other information out of your website. So just be aware of that. I use WordFence, and WordFence has a provision in there to actually stop that from working or stop that from happening. If you don't have that installed on your website, WordFence, I think it's wordfence.com, or go to the plugin repository and download WordFence, put it onto your website. Okay, so the other stuff that's going on, jQuery. We love jQuery. So back in August, WordPress went through and removed jQuery. And as a result, a lot of websites broke because developers had never actually updated their own versions of jQuery to use the later versions, the later information. So as a result, there was a plugin that was put out called Enable jQuery Migrate Helper. And what that does, it bridged the gap. So things like some of the page builders that were using it, WordPress Bakery or Visual Composer, those guys, basically it broke a bunch of those websites. And I mean, they've got millions of websites out there, millions of people using it. So that was a big hit. So using that plugin, the Enable jQuery Migrate Helper, that was a plugin that was put into the WordPress repository. You could use that, and then your website would run again. Everything was fine. Well, now here we are. So that was version 5.5. Now we're in version 5.6, and WordPress has updated to the latest versions of jQuery library, and they've also updated their version of the jQuery Migrator. So we may see potential impact with conflicts between the plugin version and the new version that WordPress has installed. So if you do start to see errors, just disable the plugin, Enable jQuery Migrate Helper. Disable that, use the default one inside of WordPress, and you should be okay. All right, so there's that. In 5.7, that's coming out in March. So WordPress 5.7, they will be getting rid of the jQuery Migrator altogether, and it'll just use jQuery and the latest libraries. So that's something to look forward to in 3 months. Yay! Woo! Okay, last minor stuff on here. WordPress is now compatible with PHP 8. And PHP 8 is the new version that'll be coming out. Web hosts do have an area, a lot of web hosts have an area that you can demo that. It is not for public release yet, so just be aware of that. My arm's getting tired. I got to rest it down. Normally I got a tripod here. Today we're just doing on the camera, on the move. So PHP 8, go in there, start playing with it. WordPress is compatible with it. At least the core of WordPress is. So you may have some plugins that are not compatible. You may have some themes that are not compatible. So this gives you an area or an environment to go play with it and figure out what is, what isn't working. So go check that out. So PHP 8, that's going to be released soon. WordPress 5.6 is now officially compatible with that, at least in its raw form. Plugins, themes may not be, so you'll have to use your best judgment on that. And the final thing I wanted to mention has to do with this new version, the 5.6 of WordPress. In 5.5, we were introduced to this automatic update stuff. And basically, WordPress took it upon themselves that they would automatically update any versions that came out. So if you were using 5.5.1 and they released an update for 5.5.2, it would automatically update. I have mixed feelings on that. I don't like softwares that do things automatic. At the same time, there are people that don't have enough time in their day to be able to watch these things and then make the updates. So I understand doing the automatic updates. I personally, because I have time to work with inside of websites, I don't like it being automated. So I disable that. There's a setting inside of your config file. You can disable that. Well, with the new version 5.6, if you install a brand new WordPress and it's running 5.6, when they come out with another major version, so 5.7, it will automatically update to that. So instead of it just being a minor version like 5.5.1, so the 0.1 being the minor version would then go to 5.5.2. Well, now it's taking the major versions too. So 5.5 going to 5.6, 5.6 going to 5.7, and so forth. I'm not sure if it's going to go from 5 into 6.0, but we'll cross that bridge in a couple of years whenever that happens. But if you install a new version of WordPress right now and you install version 5.6, it will automatically update the major and the minor versions. If you had an older version of WordPress, so we're talking before the March release this year, if you had a version of WordPress prior to 2020, let's say, then the automatic major version update is not going to happen for you unless you configure that to do that. So at least there's some safety in that, right? But that's basically the main things I've got for you today. It is being released. WordPress 5.6 is being released today, December 8th. Watch your logs and test your website. If your host does it, they sometimes send out an email alert, but your WordPress software should automatically go through it and do it again tonight for you. And again, check your website today, tomorrow, or the next day. Test everything. If you have an e-commerce store, run a dummy order through, make sure everything is working. We don't want any part of your website broken, especially right now. It's the holidays. People are still buying things online. So make sure you test everything. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Conor Tracy, BigRedSEO.com. Check us out on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, Big Red SEO. And I will chat to you the next time. Feel free to share, like, comment this video, and let me know what you think of this format versus the other format. All right, we'll talk in a bit. Thanks.